live. Yeah, yeah, we going live. Hey, hey, we going live. Yeah, yeah, we going live. Yeah, yeah, we going. Yeah, yeah, we going. Yeah, 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 we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line. Hey.
Hello, beautiful people.
Hello, hello, hello.
I am Jarrett, the football genius Burgess.
I am Stephanie Fitzpatrick, aka the Advantage Coach.
And we have a guest.
Woo!
Introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tekesia Shields. I'm Miss TK in the community, Mothers Against Gang Violence founder.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Love it, love it. All right. So, Jared, you go first.
Okay. All right. So since you said Miss TK, I got to call you by your nickname.
Look, do you see that's what I call
Yeah.
That's what I know.
Look, I was looking at our form, and I was like, now I'm gonna call her by her first name, but after I heard Step and after I heard you announce your nickname, I was like, I don't want to be disrespectful.
TK,
So Miss TK. So
That's me.
tell our Field to the Real fam a little bit about yourself.
My name is Miss TK. I am a mom. I don't like to say single mom because I had a whole community, so I never say single. But I am a mom of 4 sons. I have a grandson. I do gun violence intervention, prevention, education in the community. Also, I am very big on college football athletes. I have a whole life story that I can tell you in reference to the things that I do in the community. My trials and tribulations that I've overcome brought me here today in both aspects, the field and prison. And so now I'm back to the field with sharing my story because once I get off, I'll be going back into the prisons. So that's who I am, Miss TK.
Okay.
Yes. Amazing. Such an amazing person, just a beautiful spirit. I just love you so much. You let me share your son. And I appreciate that. People may not know, like I tell this story to when I introduce myself to people, like when I have to go do meet and greets here in Charlotte, I always tell the story of I came back into the education system totally not as an educator, but as on the administrative side of things. And all the athletes in the building at Cedar Grove High School would find me. And the first athlete who just attached himself to me was TK's son, LeBron. And it was on from then. And like, he is an amazing young man. I love him like he is my own. I tell her, thank you for letting me share him with you. Cause he's just amazing. Him and Herc, they were like my 2 big babies there, right? So,
Thank you.
So I just want you to tell us, because you were the one that reached out, which I thought was amazing to me to want to talk about this. So tell us how I know I was there as y'all went from high school to college, but what was that experience like as a parent?
So from going from high school, it was from middle school. I don't even want to say from high school or from recreation, just going for recreation because the behavior norm in our community at the beginning was if you become an athlete, whether it was football, whether it was basketball, whether it was baseball, then you would be something in the community. And so as a mom, when I moved into a community that I felt embraced, I actually enrolled all of my sons into recreational activities because I felt as when I'm going to work, they will be safe, they will be with their coaches, I would know what they will be doing, and they would not get caught in the system. And so from coming from that, he went to middle school and he was always known as, that athlete, even though with his size, he wasn't considered the 5-star or the 4-star, but in the eyes of everyone, he was, from 247 or the different, he was like a 3-star, 2-star, but in the eyes of the community, he was that number 1 athlete, very respectful. He did his work, he opened up to a lot of individuals. And so, I actually, as a parent, I just embraced that, even though I was already involved in PTA, in academics in the school, then it just brought me on as the booster parent, as they get older, parents get involved, because again, you start believing what the community tell you as well. Oh, he gonna be an athlete, he got this dream, he gonna be this, and people bring those dreams in those kids at an early age. And that's what I said, it's not even high school, it's recreation. And so I started believing that at recreation as a parent. And so I wanted to put my energy in making sure whatever promise somebody made to my son, that I knew and understood that promise, because I wanted him to receive and I wanted to understand what was going on. So when we started, he had his best friend that was a 5-star that was everybody wanted, and they would recruit them together.
Yeah.
And he would not take offers because he wanted to go into schools up under his own name and up under his own hard work. And so as a parent, it became so stressful because we would go visit. I mean, he wouldn't even tell me coaches. Like, I didn't know coaches came to the school until after he graduated from the school. Like, looking at those, you be like, oh, like it was a lot of schools that came, and
it was.
Like,
I was there.
I wouldn't tell you, because if they're not telling me or they're not paying for you to come up there. But in my eyes as a mother, I wanted to let you know, like, it doesn't matter if anybody pay. If I gotta get money back, we'll travel the world. So we started going on visits. We started sleeping at rest stops. We started doing a lot of things, and it was, I know I have you may not know, I have a sidekick, my youngest son Jalen. He's graduating,
Yes.
and he was always he's a recruiter. And so we would go, and a lot of it was like he was LeBron's manager. It was he was LeBron's manager, and LeBron wouldn't do a lot of talking. His brother would do a lot of talking, and at that time, he probably was 10,
I was gonna say he was 11, not even in middle
7.
school, right?
Really?
Right.
Right. Yes, and coaches would want to come and see LeBron, and they would want to come and talk to his brother. And so if a coach didn't say anything that LeBron wanted to hear, he would be like ready to go. And then I was like, well, you got to listen. I'm telling you, like, my hair is cut off now. Like, I had a bald spot, like, for stressing, because he was like, well, you always want to talk to everybody. You want to get to know if they really want you. They know who they want. Like, recruitment is stressful. And so I would, what is it? Huddle. All the football, they have the football huddles and your film. And so when I really learned about what recruitment, I was like, okay, well, LeBron, let's see what school the school of his choice was Auburn. And we visited. He wanted to go to Auburn. I painted his room orange and blue to give him confidence and everything. And we would go, and but then, I want to say, like, HBC, different other schools that he in high school, they promote D1, and they don't promote any other. So if you're not being looked at a D1 school, you feel unworthy.
We had this conversation. I remember having this conversation with you about him and saying, it's okay if it ain't he just need to go to school, which I was like, no, he got to go D1. And I was like, okay.
Yes, he wanted, because that's what is instilled in their mindset.
Right.
D1. Nobody come in and talk about the HBCUs. Nobody come in and talk about the JUCOs. Nobody come in and talk about, the other different schools
D2,
that they can go
D3,
to.
yep.
And then with the NAIA, wherever. Like, when I studied as a mother, so I'm like, okay, what we're gonna do is you're gonna find the coach, the position coach. You're gonna write the position coach, and then you're gonna send him for the, like, I was at the point we would be up to 3 or 4 in the morning. When he would want to do it, I would do it. But you got to send them, see what the GPAs, because he felt like, again, even though he was performing, nobody still did not beat his record in DeKalb County. I can already tell you, with 20 touchdowns, 1,169 something rushing yards, like, I can still kind of tell you, like, his record from DeKalb County, but because of his size and his height, he wasn't like getting the pushback of what he was performing. They would look at him, but he wasn't like getting that pushback as We went to what is it? Invited to like bowl games, and
Okay.
it's at Georgia Tech where they get all the great players and they play against I can't even
It's
think
an
of it
all-star
right.
game.
Yes, and they would
Yeah.
play. And matter of fact, his roommate in the All Star game was Miko Hardman.
Oh
Mm,
wow. Receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs.
okay.
That was his roommate in the
Okay.
All Star game, and they
Yeah.
played. And so it had started becoming a little depressing to him, and he started blaming me because I was like, okay, let's get a scholarship, and so he ended up attending South Carolina State. And again, too, as parents, on signing day, parents want to be in the field, in the stadium, in the library. You want your
Hmm.
child to sign on
Right.
signing day. And so I think peer pressure from the community, peer pressure from the home, and peer pressure from a lot is like, I'm just gonna sign, but that ain't really where I want to be, but I'm gonna
Mm,
sign
Mm,
because you
mm,
made me sign.
mm.
So
Wow.
we
That's
used
deep.
to have some real.
Knockdown dragouts, I'm sure. Yes.
man.
I'm sure. But praise God, it all worked out. He did
Right.
go to South Carolina State. Not only did he go there, he graduated with honors, and then he went back and got a master's degree.
Oh
So
yeah.
hello,
Come on,
let's
LeBron.
go. That's what
Come
I'm
on,
talking
LeBron.
about. Let's go. Yes. All that right there is what's
Yes,
important, right?
yes,
Even
Yeah.
it always, I had this in my office at Douglas. It says it may not be easy, but it'll be worth it.
Hmm.
So
That's a
all of
word
your
right
hard
there.
work, TK, it was worth it
Hmm.
because your son did what he needed to do. Not only did he get to go get an education, but he also got to play football, which
yes,
is what he wanted to do, right?
yes,
And he was good. Like that was the point, right? He was better
yes,
than he definitely could have gone D. If they had just given him a chance at one of those
Hmm.
schools with his size, he would have been, yeah. But God does everything for a reason. So
I was just about to say that. God
God
orders
does
our steps.
everything for a reason.
Our
So
steps are
yes.
ordained
yeah.
because I went to Howard University and I had scholarships from bigger schools, bigger D1 schools, and I ended up losing them all. And at the time, like, in just being very transparent and vulnerable, I was upset with God about my path. And I was the same way, thinking that D1 was the way. There is not anything that you could offer me that would take away from my time at Howard University. There's not a thing. And so sometimes we go in with that mindset of like, okay, D1, D1, because we all want to go to the NFL.
Right.
And the statistics say that less than 1% of us are actually going to go, regardless if we go to D1 or not. And so, having the ability to look back and have retrospect, and seeing that the way that I came through, and even though that dream wasn't realized, and I'm here now, like I would not change a thing.
Right.
Yeah. And I would
Right.
hope that LeBron would feel that way as well. That he wouldn't change anything
And that's why
about
I
his
wanted to.
experience.
That's why I wanted to know. How you all, and we have to tell families the real, you know.
Mm.
And what I'm going through now is, even though he has that master's and he has that degree, is knowing who he is as a person, and
Mhm.
learning and knowing what reality looks like coming home from. Mind you, he's been playing football and sports all his life.
Right.
He has never, because when you're an athlete full ride, you can't do work study
Mm-hmm.
opportunities. And so he has
Right.
these master, but he doesn't have the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that he's
Mm-hmm.
looking for employment and he's looking for opportunities, he's like, okay, I'm supposed to come in here with this big salary and they're supposed to pay me this. And so I'm not accepting nothing less. You're right. However, you have to be open-minded and you have to be willing to be promoted. So if they're not bringing you in at 40 or 50 at that moment, you got to look, mind you, and I'm not ashamed to say, man, I'm 45. You're 24. Coming in at a 40,000 at 24 is great. So you got to be willing to have, look at that experience. And he,
Yeah.
he's like, well, I'm worth more than this because I have a master's, but you don't have that
Mm.
experience.
Mm.
Steph,
Oh, we gotta have a talk. Yes. Me and my baby got to talk.
Steph,
Yeah.
don't that sound familiar, Steph?
Yeah.
Don't it?
So Jarrett's the PhD. Okay, like this. I don't know if you know that. This the PhD. This the PhD over here. Professor of kinesiology at Georgia State. So like, yeah, no, like, yeah, we all gotta humble ourselves at some point, right?
Right.
Do what we gotta do, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So what he's doing now is this is his job, and I'm so grateful. He is UPS and he's Uber eating. So
He
I'm okay
making
with
money.
that.
That's
So
all that matters for the moment until he get where he's supposed to go.
all all that, but it's the time because he goes in from like 2-4 in the morning and he gets off like 10, and then he would get up at 11 and he Uber Eats. I'm like, LeBron, I want you to find your life as a young man. Don't let this just be you. Still go out there and find things. And as a parent, young man, well, you got to let me do something. So I'm gonna find me. Yeah, I'm a bad bag and different things of that nature. And you're trying to always address my concerns. And so I'm like, okay, so you're gonna date now? Right now, I ain't worried about dating because I want to do this and I'm trying to do this. So I'm like, okay, so and he kind of still living like he in the dorm.
Well, here's the thing I know about being an athlete. It is very similar to being in the military or being in jail because they get institutionalized in their thought process because they're told what to do, just like somebody in jail, just like somebody in the military. They get told what to do every second of their day. And so when you got to come back out into the civilian life and you got to work and figure out for yourself how to manage your time or what you do with your time and your money and it's like, wait a minute, what? Like, I mean, I work with athletes all the time. Jarrett is a former athlete. So this is their story. So TK, he ain't doing nothing no different than any other athlete. He does have to find himself. And look, he does have to find himself. He really is in this space of just retraining his brain because it's been one way for his whole life.
And he's doing it at 24. Like, I want to say I might have been, Steph, we met in 2018. I want to say maybe the year before that is when I truly discovered purpose. The year before that. And still, even in discovering purpose, I still didn't get it right, And so I want to assure you, Mom, TK, he gonna get there. It may not happen, as quickly as we want it, but he's gonna get there. He's gonna have an encounter with someone, and it's gonna be God ordained, and he's going to be right where he's supposed to be in the moment that he's supposed to be there.
Absolutely.
I receive that because we're hearing so many depression, so many, and this is just one similar. Last week, one of his teammates was actually signed by the Lions, and he was released.
Yeah.
And when he was released, he went and he was drinking. And in reference to him drinking, he had a fatality car accident after being released. So now, mind you, you know what I'm
now
saying?
You went
how
from
depression
one way.
goes, how we have to get right.
Wow. Like
So
you were thinking you were about to be here. Now you gonna be. Oh, that's rough. That's rough. I'm sorry to hear that.
And and he comes and talk, and and I'm like, depression is real, and when you don't know how to address depression, and when they don't accept it, and it could be not me, because he may not be depressed, because as parents we see emotion and we automatically assume that emotion instead of listening to the emotion. And that's why I'm coming on, because I want to know how to understand what that emotion is, so I won't automatically judge that that's what it is, because I don't ever want to come home and my son has had a moment to where he has wanted to commit suicide. And I'm not saying this is going to happen, but it's true, because they do not understand how to come back to reality. But it's not coming back to reality because there's something that they have never lived.
Exactly. Exactly. No, but that's why we do what we do. That's the passion.
Yeah.
So that's exact. So I don't know if you noticed, but we started this podcast because we have a project where we want to go into schools. Like, actually, we want to go into HBCUs, and do work with the athlete while they're still there, trying to help them kind of get their boundaries and footing for what life is like after sport, no matter when that is for them.
Right.
So that when they know they're more than the sport, you know that you know, like, I know he got a degree, he's well prepared, but he's not prepared, if that makes sense. And so there's some social emotional intelligence stuff. There's some stuff like that needs to be addressed with them. And I feel like that is why we do what we do. Like, the reason we started the podcast was just as a platform to talk about some of these things, but also to get us into these schools and on these campuses so we can start to have those conversations. So that's our hope. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't want situations. I mean, LeBron is a great kid and he's so super smart, and when he get his opportunity, he's going to shine, because everything he put his hands to, he shines at. So he's going to shine. It is just a matter of him being okay in the meanwhile, and even having a mindset reframe, because this is the other thing with athletes, they're entitled.
100%.
I'm sorry, I love you, Jarrett, but
no. Oh, listen, like, I said 100%.
Yeah, they really are. So because things have been given to you, everything's just been kind of done for you and given to you. And so you when you come out, that's why his mindset was, wait, it was supposed to just work out that I come out and I'm on top because I'm an athlete. And they don't know how to function when that's not the case. Like, wait, start at the bottom. So even that, retraining his mind to be more willing to take on what might be entry level.
And I wanted to say, you said one thing, and a lot of people say, oh, LeBron is smart. LeBron is smart. But in school, LeBron didn't feel like he was smart. He played the role very well. Again, because they're entitled. And these are conversations we have had, you know, as him becoming an adult. He was like, he really didn't feel that he was smart until he went to college, and he had to do a lot of his work on his own, and he had to, you know, get understanding, you know, not down to himself, but he didn't really believe, because, again, a lot of things was given. If teachers like you, you know, they didn't put a lot behind you. I have one teacher, I love you, Miss Stephanie, and you know Miss Frazier. She gave them a golden ticket.
Yeah.
And in the summer, this was before school started, Mr. Jarrett. And if you didn't complete your assignment in the summer, then you were gonna fail her class. So in order for the youth to pass her class, they had to come to a meeting and meet this teacher and get this golden ticket. But the only way you got the golden ticket is you had to have your parent with you. And so he like, I need this golden ticket. And so when we got there, like, she didn't put anything, and he passed. And he said that's what pushed him a lot through college, is because, like you said, a lot of things were given to them, and they did not have to work, especially when you are considered that athlete or, you know, exactly. So when he got to college, a lot of things, even though he was an athlete, but a lot of things wasn't given to him, and he appreciated it.
Much more. See, that's the whole word right there. I love that, because
and he got his degree.
He earned
his master's degree.
He earned it.
Without somebody else.
That's the one thing I could say about going to a black college. You're gonna earn that degree. Like, no disrespect to a higher level, you know what I'm saying?
PWIs and
I've heard a little bit about the stories about, you know, how they're treated as opposed to how we're treated at HBCUs. You go to a HBCU, you gonna earn your degree.
Yeah. No, I love it though. And I love TK said a whole word when she said, like, he wanted to earn it. That to me is the part, like, teachers, high school, I hope if there's some educators that are listening, please hear what she just said. You think you helping them by giving them grades, and that's not helping them. You want to help them. If it's you see they're struggling, and that's why you want to help them, then help them, tutor them.
Right.
Help them find a tutor, but don't just give them grades. That is just not helping anybody. That's why they get to college and some of them don't make it because they can't make it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't
That's
have the
why he don't
foundation.
speak. Have you know he doesn't speak? A lot of people want
Yeah.
him to come up and
Yeah.
speak, you know, and he has a shyness in, you know, when he used to stutter, but it was confident. You want to speak as LeBron the athlete, you want to speak as LeBron the person.
Yeah.
He would cry because I was a mom and parents. We like that stardom too, even though it's not no tag behind it. But I was like, you know how the first thing a son or a child would come up, I give all praise to God and my mama, and you be wanting that person, you be wanting everybody to know you that parent.
Right.
I'm the
that
mama,
had that
right?
son.
Right.
So
You the real
I'm
MVP.
that mama. And he was like, Mom, are you want me to speak for me or you want me to speak for you? I'm not going to speak. So yes.
No, me and him got to have
So
a
that's
conversation.
true too.
Yeah, we got to have a conversation because even that is some. Look, all I think about is Moses, Jarrett, when she said that about him not wanting to talk. Like it's the Moses story. Like Moses, like God, you do know I have a speech impediment. You want me to do what? Lead a whole people.
You want Aaron to do it?
You want Aaron, right? Not me. Like, wait, what? No, yeah, you, sir, you. So me and my baby, we got to talk. We got to talk.
We're gonna have to have him on here.
Let's keep it going. We probably let's just ask the last question.
Yeah, I was about to say let's get to that because I was intrigued once you first said it and you were introducing.
Yeah, I want you to have a moment.
Your organization. I really want to hear about your organization.
Go ahead. Okay, so my organization is Mothers Against Gang Violence. Right now, I'm at work as with Cure Violence, but I started my organization. Like I stated, I have 4 sons. Okay. And with LeBron going down a great path, opening the doors that I never thought would have ever been open, he had a younger brother that was just as talented.
He sure was.
And they're 2 different individuals. 2 different people. LeBron would pull out a chair, but Nooney would, and Devon, I call him Devon, he wouldn't open the door. So it was like a judgmental. I'm like, okay, well, he's opening up the doors for you. He's giving you opportunities, and he wouldn't go down. And so he would always say, "We battle with. I'm not LeBron. Everybody think LeBron is this, and everybody." And so my son Devon actually, painted his own image, and his own image actually went to gang involvement, and he went down the wrong path. And so therefore, at that time, I stepped down from the booster because I'm like, okay, he okay. So now I want to work on behavior because my son is having behavior concerns in the school, which is my younger son, Devon. And so when I wrote down, of course, I'm in the school, I'm on the PTA. So who do I not go to? I go to the school. We have a behavior concern. We have different things that's going on in the program. And so as parents, I wanted to address the behavior, the suspension rate, why other kids, who did not feel like they were great enough or they had behavior issues could get on the field because they were judged and different things of that nature. So that's how I started Mothers Against Gang Violence, because before my son going through the juveniles, having to go on a college visit, but I really couldn't stay overnight because I had to get back home and go to court with my youngest son, waking up in the morning, he know that I'm going to go and take LeBron to a college visit. And I used to pray when I got to the red light. I was like, Lord, please let the light be red, let the light be red, because it was green, he was hopping out the car. And if he hopped out the car, he knew I wasn't going to turn around because I had to make sure I got my other one on the right track, and I was going to keep my other one on the right track. And so that's how I started Mothers Against Gang Violence, because again, I wanted to tell every testimony or everything that I went through. It was like you had to go through it so that you can go ahead and tell another parent or a family, because people don't believe that this is reality. You can't compare. You have to parent your kids differently, and you can't compare them. And so I'm not gonna blame myself, but I did compare, and I wanted him to go down the path of LeBron, and I wanted LeBron, but like I said, I can't pull him to do what's right. He had to want to do what's right. Currently, my son now is sentenced to 20 years, and he's doing 10 years, 5 years. He's on his 5-year bid. And how about this? I transferred him to Douglas High School. I transferred because I wanted to get him out of that community, and I wanted to have him to do something different. I wanted to show him something different. and he was arrested inside of Douglas.
Oh, thank you all for having me back. So, as like I was explaining the story of how I actually created Mothers Against Gang Violence, I currently have a son that is 20 years old. He was incarcerated at the age of 17, and he was in his junior year. He actually made a bad decision. I changed his environment. He was attending Douglas High School where he was arrested. Once he was arrested and brought out of the school, I always talk about, you can get on this bus or you can get on that bus. You got a prison bus and you got a HBCU or you got a D-Well bus. So when I go and I always put up kids. And when I put up kids, I'd be like, who are they? They be like, that's your son right there. And I'd be like, that's both of them my sons. I had one and they had the same background, the same living, the same support. One just chose something different. One went to college, one went to prison. But however, when he went to prison, people don't know you don't have to stop parenting when your child is incarcerated. So like I stated, I was a booster parent and I was a PTA mom. If you have a loved one that's incarcerated, they have to go to Jackson Diagnostics and they have to be diagnosed. You know, they have to go through a screening evaluation of where they're mental and different things of that nature. So I called down there and said, well, my son is incarcerated. Can I be the PTA mom of the prison? And they was like, what? I'm like, well, I was the PTA mom on the streets when he was out. So why can't I be the PTA mom in the prison? Because you say that we the one to love, we have to bridge the gap. So who's better to bridge the gaps than the mother that's having a son that's incarcerated and the mother that has a son that's in college? And so with my son, Devon, he has graduated in prison with his high school diploma, not GED, but his high school diploma. And that's because of still learning the resources of how to go and promote and advocate and teach. And so that's what I do right now. I come back out in the community and I work and I teach the parents, like, you have a life coach. I'm a life coach of gun violence, gang violence, and now joining the field to the real team in athletics and mental health. And
Yes.
so and that's what I do. I work with Cure Violence where I am right now at work, and we do gun violence prevention, education, and trauma. And again, who's better than a mother that has been traumatized? But I'm not going to live in my traumatization. What I'm going to do is help other individuals in the community receive resources and make those resources work for them. And how I can be seen, my website and my IG is Mag Violence, MAG Violence, VIOLENCE. But they can also follow Cure Violence, Cure Violence Atlanta. Actually, it's where I work, and you'll see we're actually getting ready to do a peace rally tomorrow about 3 individuals that were in homicide that was killed. In the community. And so just letting the community know and the politicians know and everyone know that you don't have to be a product of where you come from. What you do is you learn what you went through, and you don't be selfish, and you share with others so others can be successful. And I will end with this. What I have done now is we spoke a lot about my son LeBron. He encouraged. See, I had one went to college and I had one went to prison, but guess what? Their mother is now in college taking up criminal justice so I can learn the laws so I can take back in the community. So I actually brought both of my stories together. I'm learning the laws so no other families or kids have to go to prison. They understand what it's like. And I learned that from having a son that was in college that encouraged his mom to go back to college.
That's awesome.
Yeah, congratulations, awesome. TK. That's awesome. Yes. This was amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, we truly appreciate it.
Yes, this was awesome. You're welcome anytime. We tell people once you've been on once, you get the you get your own Kool-Aid. So just let me know if you want to come back.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And you all have a great day. I thank you for having and listening.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Call me if you need me.
Okay, I will.
All right.
Nice meeting you, Jarrett.
All right. Nice meeting you too, TK.
All right. Have a good day.
All right.
All right.
Now put the cameras on me, 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 put the cameras on me.